Okay, so it says I'm making the case for rival. And that shouldn't be too hard, right? I mean, let's just go back through. Let's see. Third place at Masters, first place at Super Regional, second place at Worlds last year, first place in Spring, second place at the Summerland. No, I don't think it's going to be too hard to make the case that this is a team that can win Worlds. Probably the most consistent team when you put in LAN and online performance in the world over the last year and a half. Maybe you can make the case for Dignitas being a little bit more consistent, but I think that this is I think this is the team. And they've had some struggles here in fall, but they had some struggles online in fall before they went into Super Regionals and beat everyone except for United in finals. So I don't know what you want me to say. This is a team I think can win. If you're not rival fans, if you think Dig is going to get it, or Space Station with Jeff and the boys, or some of these other North American teams, don't worry. I'm making one of these videos for every team that's going to be at DreamHack, all 8 of them, and they're going to be slowly coming out as we make our way towards Friday when DreamHack's actually starting. So make sure to sub or stick around, whatever it is you need to do to make sure you don't miss out on any of those videos. Also, fill out a bracket just like I'm doing. The link will be in the description, so make sure you fill out one of those too. And let's talk about how Rival can realistically make it to finals and win them, because I think it is very realistic. I think this team has a very good shot, despite coming in second in the placement stages. First off, the first opponent is the Weakened Energy. My Energy video should have come out by now, so you know my thoughts on them with Homie in the middle lanes of Yemen. It's a big blow, and as good as Homie is, I think this team is much weakened, and I think that Rival could be a close one to beat them, even if Energy were at full strength. This is an insane quarterfinal matchup between these two teams, but I think without Yemen, I think Rival have to be the favorites. I think you have to give it to them, so I think Rival should be able to take down Energy. Next up, very likely, would be E United. And even though United beat them at Worlds, since then, Rival has looked better in Spring and the Summer LAN. And you have to consider that Rival are hungry to beat them at Worlds in particular, since they had that loss. And they have to watch our ridiculous promo video every morning where we announce, or every morning before SPL starts, or we announce United as the winners over Rival every day for like a year now. So, yeah, I imagine they're pretty motivated to beat E United. And then in the finals, I think it's very likely they play Dignitas, though I think it could also be Obey. And that could be the big stumbling block. But remember Spring, I mean, they struggled early on, but they made the adjustments necessary to beat Dignitas, and then Dig didn't even make it in Summer. Dig has a habit of not being able to close out in the finals or to get the number 1 spot at LANs. They look really good online, look really good at LAN, but they have a hard time closing out number 1. It's been a while, I think, since Valencia, since they got it. So it's not super hard to see Rival winning the whole gosh darn thing. And I think that, especially when we start looking at these players, it gets even easier to see how they could win everything, right? Because they're still such a strong squad. It used to be that the story with Rival was that they were 5 players who maybe weren't that good individually, but they team fought better than you. They could slow the game pace down and just beat you in the late game. They could win some fights around the Fire Giant. They could defend around the Phoenix. Those things are all still true, but now they've added on a ton of individual ability. Ice Baby has looked like the most consistent jungler, second to Cuvo Fred, I would say, in the fall split. He's been insane. Deathwalker is still a top solo laner. I think it is Variety, Deathwalker, and Benji in that conversation for the best in the world right now. And Deathwalker routinely fights to get his name up at the very top by just being mechanically better than you and being great in team fights too. Collis has truly stepped up for them. I think it's Spring and Summer. He got a ton of MVPs based on the way that some of those sets went. His Athena's off the charts. You just absolutely can't allow him to have it. His Fafnir is very good as well. Collis is such a strong, consistent player for this team. So is Vote. I think Vote's perhaps the most underappreciated player in the SPL for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's hard to understand my man sometimes, and so he doesn't get as much love as he deserves. But he's absolutely nuts too. And then there's Wolfie, and we've given Wolfie a hard time here in fall because this team, outwardly, nothing appears wrong with them. Their picks and bans still seem normal, but there's been some problems, and you can very often, I think, trace it to Wolfie having struggles in game. Now, whether or not that affects them in comms, they all say that it does not, so we got to trust them on that. But it definitely seems like there's something there. As long as Wolfie can have a good game and not get focused the whole time, this team is hard to stop. I mean, they are very difficult to beat because no one is better than them at slowing down the pace of the game and just waiting until you make one mistake. That's all that Rival need, and then they'll take the game from you. They'll take the set. This team, I think, is positioned perfectly to win, at least do as well as they did last year with the second place, but it all starts with that set up against Energy. Can they win it there? I think they're the favorites in it with Homie in there instead of Yemen, but they got to actually win the matches once they get played. So if you're a Rival fan, I think you fear the Reaper. I think you feel good about your chances. I think you also fill out a bracket. I think you make sure that you do it. The link will be in the description. I think you also make sure you actually watch DreamHack. Make sure you're there. We're starting Friday, going through the entirety of the weekend, so you're absolutely not going to want to miss a single minute of it. So bring it back to the title card. We're at the end. What are you doing? Either way, make sure that you watch. Thanks again for looking out, and check out my other videos when they come out too.